everybody. Welcome to the TechRaptor podcast. I'm Robert Scarpanito, your features editor.
Andrew Rotten, editor-in-chief.
Rutledge Doggett, site founder.
Andrew Stretch, Game Pass editor.
Game Pass editor.
I feel like you've used that before.
I have used that before,
You think
but
so?
we saw a lot of Game Pass this week, so I'm gonna reclaim that.
Well, thank you. I feel like Game Pass has just been too far out there, and I'm so glad someone's finally claiming it.
So the creativity well's already dry, huh? on the whole editor name.
Hey, on. We're not talking about Gamescom yet.
Oh, that's right. We'll talk about Sonic later.
Yikes! That's not good.
This week we're only talking about news, actually, because Gamescom happened, and there's a lot we want to get through, and there's also some other news we wanted to touch upon. But I think let's just get right into it. Let's talk about the Keighley's other big show that's not the Game Awards or Summer Games Fest.
Caps off hot G-Hoff summer.
Yes. So the Gamescom Live coming to us live from Germany, opening night live. So this isn't going to be like a play-by-play of the Gamescom announcements, because by now I'm sure you've seen the things you're interested in. It's more just our thoughts, the things that stood out to us during the Gamescom show. How does everyone feel about Bloodborne finally coming to Games Pass?
It's so fantastic that we're getting Bloodborne 2.
Yes. the most anticipated PlayStation game coming to Xbox Game Pass. Lies of P.
Life of P.
Life of Pi. Can't wait to see the tiger.
I want to see the whale.
Yeah.
I mean, like an automaton mechanical whale or tiger in this game would be horrifying.
Doesn't Pinocchio go into a whale? Isn't that a thing?
Monstro.
There you go.
That's one of my favorite worlds in Kingdom Hearts.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, Lies of P does look pretty cool though, and it's nice to see it's a Korean dev, right? And they graciously accepted that award on the stage, which is very cool. Even though it also felt a little weird to have awards in my opening night lives.
He's got to remind you about the Game Awards in a few months.
Yep. He's creating his own competition.
Yeah. Lies of P looks cool. And it looks like, because I feel like there's a lot of Soulsborns out there, right? So it can be easy to kind of get lost in that, trying to chase that dragon. I mean, in opening night live, I'm pretty sure we saw at least 3 other Soulsborns. But the gameplay in Lies of P looks a little like heavier, chunkier, and like a good Dark Souls-y, Bloodborne-y way. So I'm kind of excited to see how it's going to feel.
They seem to really be pushing the idea, the themes of lies in Pinocchio. Of course, we all know his nose grows. He did look extremely human, aside from his mechanical arm. But there was some stuff said in additional commentary that the more lies that you as the main character tell in the game, it's going to be easier for you, but you're going to become more wooden, I believe was the way that it was phrased. But basically it seems like there will be some level of world-changing, world-shifting and storyline divergence in the way that you communicate with the NPCs of the world.
I wonder if it's going to be similar to like how Sekiro had, was it like Dragon Rot or something, where I think it's like the more you died, the more NPCs would die, and that would affect the story. So it sounds kind of similar.
Yeah, I would assume, there's no game that truly manages to nail a completely free split storyline.
Right.
So, it'll be interesting to see. Though, knowing me and my affinity for Soulsborne games, I'll probably get about 2 hours into it, say fuck this, and go to the next game.
Hey, that's 1 hour. That's 1 hour and 45 more minutes than Rut will probably get through.
I made it 20 minutes into Elden Ring, and I was like, no, I'm garbage. I'm getting killed by the trash. I'm too impatient for Souls games. That's the problem. I just keep trying to
You're telling me that Elex skills don't translate over, huh?
Interesting.
I mean, in fairness, Dynasty Warriors skills would transfer the worst.
Probably, yeah.
That's because it's the best game of all time and it's its own unique play style.
Right. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Dark Souls is just
No other
trying
game
to
has that
reach.
playstyle.
Copium.
Copium.
So what's funny is who would have guessed a Pinocchio game for this? Like I don't look
That
at it and
came
be
straight
like,
out of left
I
field.
was like, that's Pinocchio, right? They're like, I wouldn't have guessed that. Well, it looks like Timothy Chalamet, or however you say his last name. That's who he looks like. Like whenever they make the movie, I already got the guy cast Pinocchio. I know who will play him.
Yeah, I mean, we as a society always like love the idea of taking fairy tales and making them really fucked up.
Well, I mean, they started out pretty fucked up. The original ones are pretty fucked up.
We're looking forward to returning to get them back after the Disneyfication.
Yes.
This is the humanity reclaiming the fairy tales we always should have had. Right?
We're taking it back from Disney.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Go ahead.
It's also funny that we just got the new trailer for the Disney live action Pinocchio last week as well.
And then there's lots of Pinocchio because Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio's coming out.
Also working on.
Well, it's on Netflix or something. They got a trailer recently.
Right. Yeah, I
Pinocchio
would not
cinematic universe.
I would not have expected this game to be like, if you look at the gameplay and you didn't say the word Pinocchio, I think I would have just not gotten it was Pinocchio. You know what I mean? Like, you could have just been like, yep, it's a weird automaton universe with spooky automatons.
It kind of makes me think of Dishonored 2 meets Bloodborne.
A little bit.
Yeah. Liza P, that's exciting. I think it's early 2023 or something along those lines for the release window.
Summer, fall 2023, probably. Really.
Wow. Yeah.
I would say release dates are meaningless now. This particularly was the first time we've heard it. I don't believe it.
What are you talking? I thought release dates were important, like the February 23.
Anything else this fall?
Well, okay,
for my
fact.
health.
November is pretty fact.
So September.
There's no games coming out.
Okay. Well, so how does everyone feel about the us and the entire internet calling it last week of Dead Island 2 coming to Gamescom?
Well, is it fair to say call it when it leaked? It's not like everybody guessed.
Yeah.
I was giving everybody a lot of credit.
Yeah, but that was the final thing at the Keeleys. It was the big reveal that maybe was a little deflated considering the leak. February 23 is the release date. We saw a trailer where we see Lenny Kravitz beat up some zombies.
Yes, we did.
And
you think that'll be the only thing we see again? It'll just be another cinematic, and not the game just disappears.
It's like those cicadas. You know, we'll see a trailer for Dead Island 2 every 7 years.
I can't wait to see
delayed next week.
Goat Simulator 8 trailer parroting this one.
Right. I don't know. How does everyone feel about, because I don't think we saw the trailer last week. All we saw were some screenshots that were not so flattering. Now we have the trailer in action. How's everyone feeling about playing another game from 2010?
I'm a bit zombied out.
Yeah, zombies are kind of like, boy. It's been going like 15 years real strong. Like, very heavy.
Mm-hmm. I am... I don't know. I'm a little zombied out as well, but I also feel like the "See you in Hell A" tagline is the "Who do you voodoo bitch" of it's the same narrative thread. It's the same feeling, the same juvenility, right? It's like, okay, this game knows exactly.
Maybe this will be the Saints Row people actually want. Maybe it's got that vibe.
Whoa, too soon.
Well, I mean, it seems like the zombies have as much personality as all the other NPCs in Saints Row. So. Yeah. I don't know. Dead Island 2 just seems it just felt like a game trapped from 10 years ago. You know,
I want to hope.
I mean, we haven't seen too much of it. I mean, the gameplay wise, so I guess we can't say that definitively yet.
Yeah. Because there was a little bit of gameplay sizzle reel,
little bits
toward of it. Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, it's the reason. One of the reasons zombie games are so around forever. It's satisfying to mow through some fucking zombies sometimes. So if they can do that, it'll still be fine. Like,
is the new Saints Row not on Steam? Is it an Epic?
Is it? Oh,
maybe. Could be.
It might be.
Okay. I was just going to look up to see what its last 24 hours of players has been. and I cannot. So.
Or maybe there really is nobody playing it on Steam. That is a
Steam DB just
possibility.
forgot to add it.
You know, I'm surprised it's not on Steam with how much trash makes it on there. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. Well, I think Auden, you would call this next game trash. Sonic Frontiers. We saw more gameplay.
it's a trash of a certain. It's like
higher caliber.
Yeah, well, it's like, you know, when certain cultures say this is a delicacy when it's just fucking hot garbage that people eat for some reason as a joke. That's what Sonic Frontiers is for some people.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm one of those people because honestly, I'm going to be, because I remember last time we talked about Sonic Frontiers, Stretch went out on a limb, was like, hey, that looked good. I'm joining Stretch on that limb. This is looking,
I can't wait
looking
until
better
you
than I thought.
accidentally saw through that limb and you both fall off the tree.
Oh, I expect to fall off the tree 1 billion%. But this gameplay, I don't know, like now that they focused more on the showing off the little like levels, I guess. I don't remember what they called it. Yeah, instead of the
Well, they should feel very familiar from something I saw.
and yeah, kind of exactly, right? But I think it's
Are you about to unleash some news on us there, Otten?
it felt more alive than that open zone that they kept showing off.
I finally put my finger on what the open zone feels like. I was talking with a friend at work the other day about how like gaming now is so accessible, so easy to get into, and there's so much like free stuff. And I remembered growing up and being like, well, I don't have the money to buy a new video game. I'm just going to find some shareware online where someone has modded Sonic into a Doom WAD. And then I realized that's what the open zone of Sonic Frontiers feels like to me. It's someone's Unreal 5 project that they have just like in develop mode, just like dropped in a bunch of Sonic props.
I think you mean
like,
just one Sonic prop, which is Sonic.
And some rings.
Yeah, they've got the rings, and they've got like the regular like cartoony vibrant red like the springs and stuff.
And they've got the Hot Wheels speed up thing, you know.
And then just floating rails, not attached to literally anything.
Oh, it's so good. I'm excited. The only thing that could make it better at this point would be a Chow Garden. So that is the hill that I will always die on for a Sonic game.
Hey, you never know. There might be one, right? And this comes out. I thought this was very bold of Sonic Team to do. They announced at Gamescom that Sonic Frontiers launches November 8th, literally the day before God of War Ragnarok.
That tells you that Sonic is faster than Kratos. Sonic is faster than Kratos and better than Kratos. That's what that tells you. It's clear.
I agree with half of that. He probably is faster than Kratos.
Better. Yeah,
probably faster.
Oh, you meant the other half.
The other half. Like he's probably faster. I'll give him that.
You think they're banking on, this is going to make me sound like such a douche, but you think that they're banking on the fact that, you know, Sonic people are little subhuman people that want to play that. And then the God of War's for the real gamer people. So they're like, oh, we don't have the Venn diagram of our audience crossover is pretty small. So they're not too worried about it.
You know, you could have been nicer and been like, maybe God of War's for the adults and Sonic's for the children. But you were like, no, subhumans is the answer.
The thing is, if you don't agree with Otten, you're immediately subhuman to
That's
him.
not true. That's not true. There's plenty of things that I don't like BioShock, but I think it's fine enough. People can like that. They're making a movie.
I really
apparently.
like BioShock.
Well, BioShock is subhuman in a different way because they're subterranean, like underwater.
Well,
how about this, Otten? My favorite BioShock is BioShock Infinite.
For those who aren't watching the video because it's not out, Otten's face is very excited and elated.
It's amazing how opposite me and Stretch are on like everything. It's just like I don't understand him as a person sometimes. I've said that before.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it.
It's just a good reminder.
Anyway,
I think the Kratos, like having it before God of War Ragnarok is very bold, and it's either Sonic Team being like maybe too confident, or they're like, let's just send this out to, let's just Old Yeller,
Or they just didn't realize it because they make bad choices all the time.
That's also possible. Yeah.
They're pretty famous for bad choices.
That's not true. I thought the kiss between Sonic and the human was really romantic.
I hope this game ends with another one of those. It'll be great.
We've got Big the Cat. Big the Cat's back.
He
That's
is.
pretty cool.
And
Maybe
was
Sonic
Amy
and Big the Cat will kiss.
really breaking barriers.
Don't get
I'm
Sam
sure
too excited.
There's plenty of Rule 34 of that out there, I'm sure. So
100%. Dead Space was there, and by that I mean Callisto Protocol. We saw more gameplay.
I feel like
That
we've
looks-
seen a lot of that like everywhere. It's on everything. I've seen it like
Yeah.
10 times now, it feels like.
Yeah.
I think it looks sick.
I'm so excited for it.
Like,
Yeah, it looks good because I've been wanting a Dead Space again, and this is fulfilling that. So I'm like, yeah, let's go.
and like the telekinesis looked super satisfying. Like just chucking them into the grinder, man. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, and I like the because I think what made Dead Space so exciting was like aside from the atmosphere, right, is that you have to cut the limbs off the enemies, which made very interesting weapons. And this kind of feels like a nice twist on it because it's like if you shoot limbs off of an enemy, sometimes a tentacle spawns out of it, right? And then you have to shoot that off, and that's kind of like, oh, okay, that's like an interesting little twist on that formula.
Resident Evil 4.
And
Basically,
if you're not quick enough, they essentially power up.
yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited for it, and I think with how much they're showing over this past summer, I feel fairly confident in that December 2 release.
Oh, yeah, that one will definitely come out December, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
they've shown enough.
yeah, and I mean, I don't think they can afford to push it back because if they push it back anymore, they're getting close to the actual Dead Space remake launch window. Which,
No, that's right. It's in January, right?
yeah, so that's probably competition they don't want to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw a new game from China, Where Winds Meet, which is set in like the 10 Kingdoms era of China, and it looked, I don't know, it looked kind of rad. It looked
did
pretty,
look pretty
but it was
rad.
like
It was
action
gorgeous.
game. Yeah. It was like it looked open worldy, and you can like ride horse and do big weapons. It kind of looked like Neo-ish.
It looked like Ghost of Tsushima a bit
Yeah.
in terms of the open world stuff.
I like
Yeah.
the movement a lot. Like a lot of options there.
Like that classic wuxia movement, like the flash stepping across the water.
Oh yeah.
So cool.
Like the only thing that I am a little hesitant about with it is that it reminds me a lot of Black Myth Wukong,
Yep.
where
That's what I was-
I'm
yeah.
convinced that Black Myth Wukong is a myth because we just keep seeing more
Yeah.
gameplay of it, but like
Yeah.
nothing else, you know, like no ideas of a release window or anything, and it hasn't been at trade shows as far as I'm aware, like where people can actually
I don't
play
think
it.
so. Yeah, they
Yeah.
just put out clips.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
That's it, you know, just that's all I've got really.
But
So-
I think they're definitely of a similar style in terms of even the gameplay looks pretty. It's like hack and slashy in a similar way. That one just seems more fantasy driven, where this seems less so. Although there was some weird monster stuff in it,
yeah,
but that one definitely is leaning into whatever mythology around some Chinese mythology that I don't know fully, and the different stuff with that. But
That's probably the thing that I'm most excited for with these games coming out, to like really dive into some like good Chinese mythology. Like,
yeah,
you know, I know so much about Western mythologies, Greek, Egyptians, everything, you know, anything that Assassin's Creed put in front of my face is just fascinating. Been playing like through Soul Hackers, and all of the demons there are tied to mythology in one way or another. I would love to see more deep dives into Chinese mythology, because those stories are wild.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so Where Winds Meet, I'm hoping we see more maybe in the next couple years, see where that comes. We have a new Lords of the Fallen game, and the sequel is not called Lords of the Fallen 2, but The Lords of the Fallen. That must be great for SEO.
I mean, we're going to talk about it later, but it's nothing beats having everywhere as the title. For SEO.
Yeah.
Everywhere release date, everywhere platform.
I mean,
is everywhere
I think that was
released,
the first thing I typed into Slack when they showed the thing. I was like, man, the SEO on that's going to be shit.
yeah, like it's such a bad name that when I was telling a friend of mine about it who isn't really that big into gaming, I kept calling it everything,
Which is another one.
Which is a
right?
different
Exactly,
game.
which is another video game. So dumb.
Well,
But-
we're gonna get the sequel, because then we're gonna have the All at Once come out in 3 years, and then we'll have Everything Everywhere and Always at Once.
I know what's throwing you off. It's got to be everywhere, and then a colon, Day of the Reckoning, something. I don't know, blood.
But
That's a video game name.
the Lords of the Fallen taken the Fast and Furious naming approach. So I've never played the original, so everything that showed in this trailer seemed really neat to me. What even type of game is this?
I mean,
From what I remember, it's a Souls-like that wasn't super well received. The first one.
It was one of the early clones that was really.
Yeah, it was early on. Like it got on it early.
2014.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Because it is on Game Pass, and I have been meaning to try it out.
This
terrible.
cinematic thing looks pretty rad. I remember looking at it, and then I saw the name. I was like, "Wait a minute, they're trying to trick me."
Yeah, it looks better than I would have expected. A Lords of the Fallen
It
sequel
definitely
to.
that whole trailer looks extremely Dark Souls. Extremely From Software.
Scooby-Doo reveal.
It has a lot of the same look as the original game too. I saw it and I was like, this seems like Lords of the Fallen, and then it got to the end and I was like, oh shit, I was right.
Yeah,
Felt pretty good about that one. So
You did the Leo meme.
So some of that, but I mean, I think it's not made by. Is it made by the same people though?
it has the same publisher. It's not the same
'cause
developer.
The developer was Deck 13 the first time, right? The people that did the Surge and
It sounds
stuff.
like Hex something.
Yeah, so it's different dev.
right. Because now Deck 13, they're working on Atlas Fallen,
That's right.
which
Hexworks
was also revealed. Yeah,
Publisher
Hexworks is-
CI Games, and CI Games publishes a fair amount. They did Sniper Ghost Warrior, mostly Sniper Ghost Warrior.
They do a lot of games. Well, really, just this one franchise.
It looks like a really long list, and then I start scrolling down Steam like Sniper Ghost Warrior, Sniper Ghost Warrior,
all
Sniper Ghost Warrior. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, Scott Cawthorne, he publishes a lot of games.
Yep.
Yeah, like one a month.
Yep. But I can't wait for the third sequel. They're just going to call it Lords 3. Or maybe just Lords. Just.
Well, no, it'll be the Lords of the Fallen, but 3 will be in there instead of the E.
Yeah.
really going for that Fast and the Furious naming convention.
Yeah. Or the Lords of the Fallen.
They could do the for threer approach, and it's just the E at the end of Fallen is a 3.
But Atlas Fallen, we also saw that. It looked very sandy, very desert-y, and then the people in it used sand as powers. Like they kind of sand bend, like Gaara from Naruto.
From what?
That's a lot of pop culture in one sentence. I don't think that Autumn can handle that.
I don't think I appreciate Naruto references
Those Naruto and the famous anime Avatar.
that I don't know and don't give a shit
I
about.
told you it was too much for him. It's okay, Grandpa. We'll sell you.
Oh
down.
yeah, me not knowing a bunch of anime stuff makes me a grandpa.
Well, even worse, Avatar is
Damn
kind of
kids
not an
with your
anime.
Naruto.
I know what Avatar is. I thought you said like it was an avatar from another thing. I know I've seen Avatar.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, we're getting that new Avatar game too.
Is there?
There we are.
Uh-huh. Oh well,
Not the anime
the
Avatar.
blue people Avatar. Yeah,
Blue people.
The blue people.
I guess side note, I was making the joke about the blue people Avatar, but there has been listings for a new Avatar: The Last Airbender video game showing up on storefronts around the place. So we probably are getting that as well, but we won't talk about that right now.
Yeah. But Atlas Fallen, it looked. I mean, it was another cinematic trailer. So, well, there was actually some gameplay if I remember. You're kind of like sand surfing. It kind of looked like Haven, how you kind of like glide along. Yeah. Yeah,
Big
it looked
open
like
world game.
You know,
Very
everybody saw
Tatooine-y.
Dune was coming out. They're like, oh, sand.
That's a new
And then they
gig.
made a game based on it because this old worldy thing is definitely Dune.
Brandon Sanderson, famous fantasy novel guy, he wrote a game called Moonbreaker, where it's
But it's a strategy game.
It's a strategy game. It's tabletop the video game, not to be confused with tabletop simulator or other tabletop-esque video games. But this one's just like literally minis. Like they don't even animate. It's just like you're moving minis. And,
Yeah.
That threw me as like collaborated or like developed with Brandon Sanderson. I was like, oh cool, we're gonna get a like nice narrative adventure, and there was like minis, and I was like, what?
Well, he's a big game guy, so I mean I knew he's got several projects going.
Yeah. There are many ways to play, as they say in the trailer. I don't know.
I only had to deal with that with Stretch. Now you.
Well, no, that's literally what they say in the trailer, which is why I'm wondering, like, how many ways are there to play with minis?
Well, I mean, don't ask Stretch. It's endless. Endless.
But in this game, I'm curious. Like, are there really is that their tagline? Like, there are many ways to play, or
I mean,
They're talking about how like you would unlock him, and they would all be different too. So it was not like there's 50 miniatures, but it sounds like there's a bunch of iterations of each one.
It might be the miniatures equivalent of like a deck builder, maybe. Or like XCOM-esque, that you like get the creatures and level them up. I was kind of on it until I saw the miniature painting. That seemed really weird and unique and fun. Just like as a way to completely personalize what you're doing, but also we don't even know if there'll be like multiplayer or anything. So I don't quite know like who's the painting for. And I guess if it's just for the player, then cool. I'm sure that there will be a subreddit of 150 dedicated people showing off all of their paint jobs.
probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
That might be more popular than we think. Because I think a lot of people like the idea of painting and then do it and they suck at it. So something that makes it a little simpler might
Digital.
be pretty appealing.
Yeah,
I haven't seen a miniature painting sim at this
I was
point.
just about to say that. If they had
I want royalties if anybody does that.
If they had a miniature painting simulator that you could export in a file that could be read by Tabletop Sim,
That would be cool.
that would make shit tons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
One thing
don't. We
It
need to
just
edit this
integrates
out.
with tabletop sims.
Yeah, we need to edit this out. This is $1 million idea,
right.
guys. We need to keep it to ourselves.
One thing we didn't mention with this Moonbreaker thing, it's made by the Subnautica people,
Yeah, this is the deep
which is a
water people.
interesting
Genre.
Yeah, I mean, unlike FromSoft, that just like all they do is a single genre, and like going into a FromSoft game what it is. It seems like Subnautica, like the developers at Subnautica, have just decided we're going to do the complete opposite. Like everything that we have worked on, let's throw it out and build something completely new. And that's got to be logistically a pain in the fucking ass.
Yeah.
But it's a really neat idea for a developer.
Well, I imagine they've got a pretty nice cushion from Subnautica because they made quite a few. Like, I mean, they kept updating it, and there's like Subnautica Below Zero.
Yeah.
Was that the sequel?
Which was like a
side-alone
game.
It was pretty popular.
Yeah, so I imagine they have a nice little safety net for them to go out on a limb like this. And I imagine saying we have a game featuring Brandon Sanderson is going to help.
It's a big draw. He is literally the most popular fantasy author in the world.
Yeah, didn't he just
by
have
like
some
a lot?
astronomical Kickstarter?
He did.
Yeah, I think it's like one of the most popular ever.
I put money into it.
Just for some. It's just for some books. That's it.
Yeah.
Wild.
Pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I'm curious to see how Moonbreaker is going to go. Especially because, I mean, what if they do eventually? What if they're listening right now and they're like, oh, exporting minis? That's a smart idea, Stretch.
I mean, they might be taking like the Overwatch approach with it as well. And it might be that the gameplay tells you absolutely nothing about the world, but then there's super high quality Pixar level trailers that they release.
Just
TF2 style.
Just remind me as an aside of Overwatch that the world began as an MMO, and it's so funny how we know fucking nothing still. It's supposed to have been this super fleshed out MMO backstory world with a bunch of stuff, and they're like, fuck all that, apparently.
I really dig the story of Overwatch. I've played 2 hours of that game, probably.
Yep. And you've seen all the story.
You got screamed at by a 13-year-old, and you were like, I can't do this anymore.
Well, I mean, he's going to be my stepdad one day, then I need to listen to him.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hey, we still got Overwatch 2 coming. That's going to have the PvE thing. There you'll get all your story on all of it.
No, I won't be playing it, so that's fine.
Okay, fair.
Coming to Game Pass.
Nope. High on Life is coming to Game Pass, actually, as well. I believe that's coming out December 13 or so.
I think
November.
Do you smoke weed in it, you think?
Probably. Well, it's not weed. It's probably some weird, like, space weed.
Alien that says something about sucking it off or some dumb joke that he would make. Call it now.
Yeah.
It's going to say something like, blow me, and then then that's how you get high.
You can blow it and you get high on Life.
Oh, man.
Yeah. This is that game from Justin Roiland and Squanch Games. Is that the name of the dev studio, right? Yeah. So very Rick and Morty vibes. And if you didn't know that, watch literally a 2-second clip and you'll be like, yep, that's Rick and Morty. If you didn't quite
understand what the game was about, I mean, sorry, you just don't have the IQ for it.
Yeah. This is the one thing, a prerequisite for this game is you need a huge IQ. Humongous.
If you really want to understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's basically the shooter where Morty is your gun.
Pretty much.
It talks shit. They showed that boss fight at Gamescom where it's basically just Morty talking shit at the boss, and the boss being like, "Can you shut the fuck up?" And the gun's like, "No."
Yeah.
And yeah.
And by the way, if you saw that and that's all you saw of the game, that was not a good showing of the game. It was pretty awful. But there's other gameplay out there that they also put out that actually was like, all right, now I actually see what's fun about it. Because that boss was just terrible.
Yeah, there's like a 25-minute clip you can find on YouTube that's it shows a lot better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I did find it interesting that your grapple hook thing also talks. So,
well, I think everything is going to talk to you.
Everything talks. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They saw that gun from Cyberpunk talk to you. They're like, yeah, they're onto
it's
something.
Like a whole game around this.
Yeah, my plumbus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. After seeing that, I just decided to put on like season 1 of Rick and Morty again, just to like kind of ease back into it and like kind of remind myself of like, oh, I do have a big IQ. Thank you, Justin. Smart. Exactly. Yes. Man, boy howdy, is it hard to go back to watch those early ones.
Is it
a little?
Maybe if you don't understand it.
Yeah, maybe your IQ isn't as high as it was back then.
Maybe I did get COVID once. Maybe that's right. Taken away my Rick and Morty license.
Oh no. Well, you know what? Season 6 starts that next month, so you'll get right back into it. Or whatever season it is.
There's also Solar Opposites on Hulu in case you want even more of the exact same fucking thing but a different dynamic. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about FromSoft only having one thing that they do.
Yeah. What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that Justin Roiland is a very impressive creator. His ability to begin talking and then not need to stop is honestly very impressive.
Yeah,
it is pretty good. One of the better clips like that they put out is him getting just fucking blasted drunk and doing the Rick and Morty like voice acting. That's pretty good.
I mean, I think to me some of the best Rick and Morty episodes are the one where it's like interdimensional cable, where they just kind of shoot shit,
just riffs,
yeah, and then they animate around that. That's good.
Anyway, this definitely seems the most ambitious of his games so far.
Agreed.
Yep. Biggest one.
Wasn't the first one like a VR?
Yeah,
I've played it. It was fun. I mean, it was super weird, super cerebral. It was just basically going from like weird scene to weird scene. It's pretty much interdimensional cable, but you keep like putting on a new VR headset and going a level deeper, but then you just end up in the dumbest, weirdest sequences over and over again.
Yeah, I that's what I kind of fully expect High on Life to feel like. You know, it's just going to get dumber and dumber, like in a good way, but just more absurd and probably nihilist. You know, it's just yeah. Mm-hmm. The Expanse is coming soon. Not the show, but the game based on the show. Summer 2023.
Well, but it's based on the books, I would hope.
Yeah. But summer 2023 by the brand new Telltale Games and Deck 9.
So this is no one from original Telltale is involved. This is the purchase of the company, filling the company with new people and putting out a brand new product.
They revived the name, basically, is all.
The name.
Okay.
But the developers are Deck 9, which they did Life is Strange True Colors, Life is Strange Before the Storm.
Okay. So there's still like pedigree in the genre.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like before I knew it was Deck 9 doing it, I was like, I don't know. But knowing them that they're on it, you know, it's like, okay, that's giving me some hope. Yeah.
What do we think about The Expanse?
Do we know if it's going to be episodic or not? Like, are they going to fall back into that?
Yeah, they didn't really. Yeah, that I don't know.
Because I would hope that they figured out a better way to do the pipeline, like making sure that they have like episode 1 through 4 ready before they even put out 1.
Yeah. Well, I think it was someone at Deck 9 did an interview a couple months ago where they said I couldn't imagine releasing a game episodically anymore. Like they would still keep the episodic format. Yeah. Because like True Colors is like episode 1 through 5, but that all came out.
But a single package.
Yeah. So the episodic format's more for like pacing of the story, but in terms of release. Okay. Yeah. So I'm hopeful.
I think releasing it that way kind of held them back too.
Yeah.
Like having to wait.
Because then you just kind of forget.
Patient. Yeah.
Like I think Tell Me Why did it pretty smartly too, where that was like a week apart. Like they released it weekly for 3 weeks. Yeah. That's a decent window. Yeah. But I imagine we'll learn more as we get closer to that summer 23 window for The Expanse.
Yep.
But yeah, I think this is going to be that first new thing from new Telltale, which I think is going to set a tone for what people can expect.
Yep.
Yeah.
See whether they make or break.
Yeah, because back in its heyday, Telltale was like really good, and then they just kind of didn't evolve, and
they tried to grow way too fast.
Yeah.
Well, they did the same thing over and over again, and then just said more IPs, more IPs, more IPs, more IPs, and didn't decide to evolve the formula or engine at all.
Exactly. That's fair.
And crushed under what they did.
But hey, I hear that a TechRaptor, a Telltale series, would have been a fantastic game.
Too bad it bankrupted the company. Bummer.
Yeah. One other game from Gamescom that we mentioned earlier, but I think let's talk about it a little more because some more news came out about it after Gamescom opening night live. Everywhere, the game. So if you haven't seen the trailer, I would recommend watching it only because it's so like, well, it's one of those like it's a good test of your bullshit detector, you know, like. Like, do you smell something funny after you see this trailer? Because they're promising everything that you can do everywhere, and it led some people to think it's
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, and I know in our Slack we were chatting about it, and like people on Twitter were talking about it. Like, is this an NFT? Are there NFTs in this?
I know what it is now. Go ahead though. I figured it out.
Okay, well, because then they also had job listings for like a blockchain developer out there, and then they came out and said, no guys, we promise this is not going to be built on the blockchain. So it's not a blockchain game. What is it?
It is a blockchain game. They're lying. But
that's it. You can stop there.
It is. They're out Star Citizen. They're getting ahead of them. This is Star Citizen 2 when they're like, guess what, we're bigger and better, baby, NFTs and blockchain. Like, you think your grift is good? You haven't seen grift. We got all kinds of new tools.
Do you think I could transfer my sheep coin into it?
Probably.
I don't know.
Will it actually be worth something?
Yeah. Can you imagine Rut just coming into Slack one day and saying, "I've transferred my sheep coin to everywhere."
Damn right.
Yes.
To everywhere.
It's the long
And
con,
soon,
man.
It will be in the. It'll be.
Or sorry, not con. The long play.
It's like the trailer for everything contained so many buzzwords without actually representing what their title was about.
Do you mean
they're
everywhere?
Yeah, sorry. So the trailer for Everywhere contained so many buzzwords is that I have a feeling that next E3 Devolver will just be able to play that trailer in its entirety, and it would be able to be enough of a parody of itself.
Yeah. Right.
And yeah, like going through it immediately as we were all like looking for like watching it all together, we're just like, oh, something's not right here.
Something's smishy.
It like every way they were saying things.
Everywhere they were
all
saying
the exact same verbiage that these metaverse games use. It's like you can make your own world, you can be your own character. Like at this point, if you say that, it's a metaverse game, and everybody knows it. And I know they said it's not on the blockchain, but if you're hiring a blockchain developer,
I believe that the way that they phrased it was also very odd.
They said
that people were saying, is this a blockchain game? Are you using NFTs? Yada, yada. And they said, no, we're not building it on the blockchain. We're building it on Unreal Engine. And it's like, that's not really how that works.
Like, we're building on everywhere on Unreal Engine 5 and not the blockchain.
Yeah,
Unreal
the way
can
that
function with the blockchain.
The way that you are answering that question tells me that you are either purposefully avoiding or you don't know enough about what you're talking about to accurately respond to this question. And both of those can concern me for two different reasons.
Yeah.
So
like they've claimed that the blockchain dev positions are, quote, research positions, as we do not like dismissing new technologies only because others haven't found a solution for them yet.
See, and
you only create a position if there's financial gain around it. There's an ROI with that position. You don't just create a position to create a position.
Mm-hmm. And like even Phil Spector. Who's that guy?
Spencer?
Phil Spencer. What? Phil Spencer.
I just watched your brain melt down in real time.
That's wrong. That's definitely wrong. No, Phil Spencer came out this week and also said like, yeah, they're looking into the blockchain and like they see some interesting ideas behind it, but they're still not sure where it benefits the player. And that's kind of the similar vibe that we've had from Nintendo in the past as well. And yeah, it's like, it's one thing to do research or to hire an independent firm, maybe externally, to present to you what the benefits may be. But if you're hiring a full-time position, probably, in the upper five figures, chances are you're planning on using it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know who Phil Spector is?
Who's Phil Spector?
He's an American record producer and songwriter who worked with the Beatles and stuff, and also a convicted murderer.
I was gonna say, I just watched a movie about the Beatles songs yesterday, so maybe that's why that's on my mind.
Yeah, I think you were thinking of War Inspector, probably, but that's why.
No, I was thinking of Phil Spencer. I know
you're thinking of that.
There was a mismatch in my brain to my speaker box.
I'm looking at this website for Build a Rocket Boy is the name of the company, and I made a joke about calling themselves Barb, but they do call themselves Barb apparently. In short, and it's been around apparently since 2016, and now they have over 400 people. And I'm reading this thing about how they got some more their Series B fundraising. I don't know, something just is weird.
It's fishy, right?
Over 400 people working on this, and this company's existed for 6 years. And they have a quote that like, we're excited. We're also very excited at how the current trends in the video game industry are aligning with their vision for everywhere. And it's like all of the current trends in the game industry, AAA wise, fucking suck. Like, so
yeah. Yeah.
We're just trying to catch up to Second Life at this point, but that's basically just a really bad RP server.
So you should go play Moonguard, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel very confident in what Everywhere is going to bring to the table.
Nope.
No, like it's basically, it's sounding like the world's most ambitious crypto wallet to me right now.
No.
To the moon, baby.
Yeah.
Feels like one of those things that we'll see it here and then never again, maybe.
Maybe.
Or it'll come out and just be like, everybody like, this sucks. And
hey, actually, guys, I bet
it'll get purchased by Meta.
Maybe.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, Jesus. I don't know. Other billionaire man, Mark Zuckerberg, is going to see it and think, this looks good. It looks better than my avatar, I guess.
This is the metaverse now.
Yeah.
Okay, I bet you guys, right here, right now, I bet all of my Dogecoin, all my Sheepcoin, all my Bitcoin, I'm betting all of it, that they're going to announce a Kickstarter within 2 years.
I don't think so. I'll take that bet. I'll slap my nickel down against your nickel.
So you're about to get 30 cents.
Yeah. Where's the quarter? I got a quarter somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know. It feels very Star Citizen to me, where like they're going to find a way to keep getting money without releasing a product that's really meaningful and viable. Right. And like keep promising and under delivering.
There's lots of games that get released that aren't meaningful or viable. Let's be fair.
I mean, in the gaming space, right? I know there's no game more meaningful than Sonic Frontiers. But,
there's so much meaning. It does mean a lot.
I just don't see this being a worthwhile investment.
Everything about it is just red flag after red flag after red flag.
Exactly.
Like if people get duped into it, it's like, I don't know how to help you. Like you're going through life and you're fucked. I don't know what to tell you. Like I really don't.
Exactly. Last story of the day, I think. Let's talk about Sony hiking up the prices of the PlayStation 5.
Sons of bitches.
Sons of bitches.
So for almost everyone who doesn't have one yet.
Which is almost everyone.
Yep.
Yeah. They've made the quote difficult decision, but this is not applying to the USA. It's applying to other markets in Europe, China, Canada, where the price hike will be just a little bit due to inflation. So like, for example, now you're looking at 550 euro in Europe or 480 pounds in the UK, 6,000-ish yen in Japan. So it's a slight hike up, right?
What they say, roughly 10% on average.
Yeah. Whereas Microsoft and Nintendo have both come out since that news and were like, cool. Ours are still $300 for the Switch and $500 for the Series X.
I think part of it is that like, so Sony's got one section of their company that's doing well. And they're like, oh God, we need it to keep making money, please.
Yeah.
It's fair.
It's weird that normally around the time in a console life cycle, you would start seeing the drop in $50.
Yeah.
Instead, we're seeing the increase. I'm sure that, Nintendo is saying that there's no problem in Ba Sing Se because Nintendo wouldn't see an issue if it was flying at them.
No. They have like $1 trillion in like just sitting in a bank. They have like an insane amount of money just sitting around.
And they're releasing Splatoon 3. That's going to save Nintendo.
That's true.
They're set.
That one's for you, Dan.
That's cold.
But I think that this is also where Microsoft is kind of getting around. Like we all know that console sales are always at a loss. That's why we're able to look at the Xbox Series X and say, wow, that's a super intense piece of hardware that they must be selling at a loss because it's half the price of a gaming PC of the same size.
Right.
And I think that this is also where Microsoft is going to get away with it with like the Samsung deal and with moving like their games to PC and stuff, because they're just not as reliant on selling their consoles at a loss to then sell for a profit with the games.
Yeah.
Well, and it's something we talked about before. They're also got the benefit of being one of the biggest companies in the world. So,
that's
like,
true.
I would be a total Chad move for them to be like, you know what? You're doing a price hike, fucking slashed. We're taking $50 off, and like, we don't give a shit. Like, that would be so crazy. This feels like revenge for the used games back in the day. The video that Sony put out.
Yeah.
The Xbox One and
I mean, if you think about it, it is kind of remarkable that, like, you know, especially with inflation just being such a huge story in like everywhere for the past few years, games are still $60. Well, 70 depending, but like
Sony sells them for 70.
Sony sells them for 70. Yeah, you have to pay $550 for your machine and then $70 for your games. But I mean, for the most part, like, games have been pretty, like, the software themselves, have been steady for years.
Even cheap. Like, you look at like PC gaming in particular, like, you regularly get games not that much far out from release that are like half price.
Right.
All the time.
Most games launch with like a 20% discount.
Yeah. So they're pretty regularly not $60. And like back in the day, like some SNES games, they'd be like, here, this is $80. And you're like, oh. It wasn't a steady 60 all the time. There was some variance.
Even PlayStation 1 games were like
so imagine paying like $80 in the 90s for a fucking Mega Man X or something. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, that'd be rough. But I don't know. It's interesting to see that, like, it's a follow-up kind of on the previously we were talking about with all the console wars happening, right? Again, like how it was very legal combat kind of in a way, like a couple of weeks ago. And now we're here looking at the financial changes, right? Like, it just makes you think more about, like, because I've always seen Sony as like the Apple of the console space. And this is feeling more and more like, I mean, in one way, it's a reaction to inflation, but in another way, it kind of now feels like the Sony tax, like the Apple tax.
Yeah, well, they've always had the, like, our products are so good, we don't need to play by the same rules. But this
they did it with TVs too.
Yeah, well, the Sony TVs are genuinely kind of in a class of their own in a lot of ways for some stuff.
Yeah,
technology, like the software behind it, wise, anyway. But
yeah. So hopefully, you know, we'll see more of this come out, and we'll see, like, hey, maybe more people will buy Xboxes just because they're cheaper and more affordable. I mean, they kind of have been for a while now, right? Like, even just buy a Series S, get Game Pass done, right? And now it's just even more viable now.
But still part of it is like they're still hard to come by, PS5s, and they will be. So are new Xbox Series X's are more hard to come by than Series S.
Yeah,
they're also pretty difficult. And what's crazy is that we joke about, like, not everybody has a PS5. Like, it's sold a ton of them. There's a lot of them out there.
Like, they're always off the shelf.
The demand is still just insane for it.
Like, mostly because of the slow burn to get them. Period. I think, like, had the supply chain not been what it is, I don't think it would be where it is right now in terms of, like, everybody who wants one is still trying to get one potentially.
Yeah, like, because I mean, it is bad optics, right, to say, hey, we have to increase the price of our PS5, but I don't think it's so bad that we're going to see a decline in PS5 sales.
Probably not. No, I mean, there would be people be upset about it, and I kind of rightfully, I get it. Because I think, God, I have to look it up. I don't want to be wrong, but like there was talk about how they already had made a profit on the hardware from it. And they weren't necessarily selling it at a loss anymore because they made some design changes in their production.
Yeah, like
already, like they weren't, and we've all become pretty used to, as Stretch was saying, like, we know consoles usually sell at some kind of loss.
Yeah, well, because I know, wasn't it like Austin Walker did that thing about a year ago now, maybe, where some of the newer PS5s have less heat sinks in them.
Well, they redesigned it to reduce some weight, but apparently it's just as or better effective, apparently.
Interesting.
But yeah, they did some changes to the manufacturing of it. And so it's just a weird thing to think of them as making a profit on selling the console when that's not been the case for so long. But like I said, I genuinely wonder if Sony's like, this is our moneymaker in terms of the whole company. because they've killed off. They've sold off almost everything they do. Like TVs they make, but they don't make hardly anything else like they used to. They used to make basically every appliance you could think of.
But what about the Walkman?
Yeah.
Good times.
So I don't know. That might be part of it. Like that's the thing that whenever we do talk about Sony versus Xbox and stuff like that, like Sony as a company is small time compared to Xbox and Microsoft. Yeah. Like they're nothing compared to them, and they do not have anywhere near the firepower in comparison. So
like Sony could not drop $70 billion to acquire a studio.
No. Not at all. So
they don't have that Azure money.
Yeah. Well, maybe after they start selling these PS5s at $50 more, maybe then
they'll be raking it in. I don't know. Yeah, well, maybe they'll stop making shit movies like Morbius and use their label for something else.
Yeah.
Although I know what a cultural touchstone that movie is now. I understand.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go see it in theaters again.
It's Morbin time. Yeah. Hey, Sony, bring it back. Bring it back in theaters. Let's.
They already fell for that bait once, and it fucking failed.
No, but seriously, this time we will.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Absolutely.
That would be one of the greatest things on the internet if they convinced them to do it again.
Mm-hmm. Do it again, and hey, maybe if I go again, maybe I'll buy another PS5. Maybe I'll.
Yeah, they'll buy that.
No, I'll buy that.
They'll give you a $50.
I need a 5 voucher just to go for my bedroom and one for my living room.
Well, no, I'll connect both by USB to double the power. That's how that works, right?
Oh, yeah. So, okay. So it's like a Switch dock where you just daisy chain them together, and that's how you get Super Mario Odyssey in 4K.
Exactly. That's how you can finally play God of War Ragnarok at 60
on
FPS.
the Switch.
Yep. Yeah, but I think that does it for this week's episode of the TechRaptor podcast. We hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please feel free to leave us a review. Let us know what you think. And let us know in the comments below, either on YouTube or on our site. What was the most exciting thing from Gamescom that you saw that you're just like, I can't wait to play that? And why is it Sonic Frontiers? Let us know. If you want.
If it is Sonic Frontiers, seek help. You need it. You may not know it about yourself yet, but this should be the sign.
Okay. Harsh words. And if you'd like more, we always have news, features, reviews, etc. going up at techraptor.net. But if you want more of this show, we will be back maybe next Monday. We've got PAX things to figure out, but we will be back. We'll see you then.